Rabbi, I have a question.
Yeah.
Previously, when the Rebbe was connecting chala to ruach, I don't understand how those dots were connected. When talking about chala to mizbeach, adamo to ruach, and I didn't understand the connection.
Yeah. Okay, let's look at that again. So I want to review that. So what did he say in Noise Gimel? It's rather technical. The connections are from word associations. So let's look at this again. So he was saying, first of all, Ois Beis. It's a lot of detail here. Ois Beis was saying as follows, that there is the separation of challah at the outset while it's dough. That represents, and that is lechem min ha'aretz, that represents avodas berurim, refining the world that we engage in from below to above. That culminates with putting it on the mizbeach. That's all one level. It goes on the mizbeach and it ascends. We're elevating the world. But then the kohen eats. The kohen eats the challah. This is another level of truma, without going to the first paragraph again, question and answer. But the bottom line, the eating of the kohen, or actually, not so much the eating of the kohen, the wording of the pasuk is that when you eat of the bread of the land, you shall give truma l'Hashem. So that is a reference to the kohen, and that is a revelation from above to below. That's the kohen representing Hashem. This is true of every korban. Every korban. So the Gemara says that the owners who bring the korban do not achieve atonement, even though the mizbeach consumed its part. We're talking about the korban chatos, korban osham, until the kohen consumes his part, and that's even higher than the mizbeach. Why? Because the mizbeach represents the elevation, our effort from below to above. The kohen's consumption is the Adam ha'elyon, that's the Eibishter, that's the revelation from above to below. In the words of the Maimer, the first stage is Yichud Tato, and the highest stage is Yichud Allah, as we explained. That was his base. The Ois Gimel, he said in mitzvahs challah, so it's one of the three mitzvahs of Nida, Challah, and Adlakas Haner. Without repeating all the details of that. Now, Nida, we'll just say this much, reviewing it. So Nida, which is blood, that's avodas berurim, and explained, because the blood is created by the food, the waste is rejected, the nutrients become blood, and from that, a child is created. As the Gemara says, her seed is red, and that forms the flesh, etc. Moreover, the blood then turns into the milk which nourishes. So this whole parallel is Yitzias Mitzrayim. Yitzias Mitzrayim is also associated with the Mayich Chayi, with your blood. So that was the birur, that's the elevation, the refinement. The waste is rejected. They remained in Mitzrayim, and then they proceeded towards the Matan Torah, and that's where the blood turns to milk. That's the parallel. Clear? This all is nefesh. This is the level of, we're talking nefesh, ruach, neshama. These are the three mitzvahs of nida, challah, and lakas haner. So this is all nefesh, because of course the nefesh, the blood is the carrier of the nefesh. That was pretty clear. Now you're asking about challah and ruach. Let's see. So challah is the tikkun for the higher level, and that is of the person, of the soul, and that is ruach. Now, the association is the Lashon Chazal, look at 24 from the Rishalmi. Adam Rishon was the Chala Tahira L'Olam Hay. He was the pure Chala of the world. Why is he called Chala altogether? Because he was made of right? Why is he called Chala? He's made like dough from the water and the earth. And not just earth, but the most choice earth from under the Mizbeach. We went into the details of where the earth came from actually. Chazal tell us Hashem took earth from everywhere, from the whole world. There's different levels to all of this, but the bottom line is the choice earth, and then here's the connection. Look at by the number 27 right after that. So informing him, he's given a pure ruach tahara, and this ruach tahara here therein is the association with the level of ruach. He's described as the chala tahara. It's not a maimah chazal. This is just the maimah saying that. And this chala tahara, the pure chala of the world, is the inyan of ruach tahara, the pure ruach, level of ruach that was granted to him. Ruach adam me'ila l'mayla, that's the spirit of man that ascends upwards. So that's the connection to the level of ruach. What's the bottom line? Because he's called chala tahara, and the ruach is called ruach tahara. What's the source of that? Doesn't bring. Just calls it ruach tahara, pure spirit. All right, that seems to be the answer. Unless we can find a Maimon Chazal. Look up the Rishalmi. Maybe the Rishalmi mentions there ruach, the words ruach tahara. If the Rishalmi does, then it's clearer. If it does, but it doesn't seem so from any footnote pointing to it. Okay, that's the connection. Conclusion, we're calling the ruach tahara, and he's called chala tahara. So we have the connection. Now, so we're up to Hadlakas Haner, I think. Yeah, did we finish we think we finished the paragraph. No. I think we did. So Hadlakas Haner, Ner Hashem Nishmas Adam. So there it's a clear association in the pasuk between what? Ner and the level of neshama. So dam, clear. Adam hu nefesh, dam elevates, nida elevates the level of nefesh. Chala elevates the level of ruach, the association, ruach tahara. Hadlakas Haner elevates the level of neshama. The association is obvious too. Light, enlightenment, that's seichel. Neshama is the primary seat of seichel. We mentioned this. Ruach, midas, and nefesh is behavior. I mean, see that blood animates, that's behavior. Ruach is spirit. You know, we talk about ruach, even in common vernacular, we talk about an atmosphere. Ruach, that's emotion. And neshama is seichel. So these three mitzvahs elevate the levels of the neshama overall invested in the guf. That's what's invested in the guf. Is nefesh, ruach, neshama. Then he added, finally, which the Maimon will continue to explain, that these three levels, nefesh, ruach, neshama, which correspond to nida, chala, and hadlakas haner, yes, we're all following everything here, all the dots are connecting. This corresponds to sur mirah, asay toiv, and what's the final thing in the pasuk? Baki sholem v'rot fehu. How so? Mitzvahs nida sur mirah. Where do you see that? Anybody has mentioned in the Maimon already? Where do we see the singing of sur mirah, dafka mitzvahs nida? Just mentioned moments ago.
Avoiding pselos.
The what?
The pselos.
Yeah. So nida literally is nida happens when the blood is rejected, and the choice blood then remains the nutrients, becomes the cholov. That's matan Torah. That's what I say toiv. But the mitzvah of nida itself is sur mirah, rejection of, integral to that, and that's primary. And that's how nida happens, is when the blood is expelled, that's sur mirah. Mitzvahs chala is asay toiv. Connection. There's no rejection here. What are we doing? elevating. We're elevating the piece of the challah itself is an elevated piece of dough and bread. That's asay tov, and mitzvah's done with it. And bakei shalom, seek peace. That refers to limud HaTorah, which is connected to hadlakas haner, and the connection between limud HaTorah and hadlakas haner again is obvious. We just said it, and that is, one word. Enlightenment. Torah, enlightenment. All right, so nida is sur meira, challah is asay tov, and hadlakas haner is limud HaTorah. And these are all given to the woman, Chava, who, as we learned at the beginning of the Ois, Adam edition is described as all of these things in the Rishalmi, and he was compromised, and so that through her, which she's symbolic of Klal Yisrael B'chlal, is the tikkun and elevation of Adam edition on all three levels of Nefesh, Ruach, Neshama. Are we clear? Folks, before we go further, any questions? Okay, let's continue now. God willing, I'll make a paper, because a lot of details, still more to come, it'll be easier to follow, just to match things up. Hine now is going to say, so we just finished saying that the three in Yonim of Surmid, Asay Tov and Limud HaTorah, are embodied in the three mitzvahs. Now he's going to say that they all exist within Chal itself. V'nigam b'mitzvahs Chal gufa yesh dugmas gimel in Yonim Eile. Where do we see these three Yonim in Chal itself? In Yom Razal. So the Medrash says, "Kashem she'isha mekaskeses isasa b'mayim," just like a woman mixes her dough with water. V'achakachi magvas chalos, and then she lifts her challah. Kachos hakadosh baruch hu Adam Arishan. So too did God make Adam Arishan. Chsiv ve'eid yalim min ha'aretz, and a mist rose from the earth. V'hishkan watered the whole gan, the garden. And then we read, "V'achakach vayitzer Hashem elikim es Adam ofar," and Hashem formed Adam, earth, from the ground. So what's that talking about? V'kol zeh b'negel l'briyas gufa shel Adam arishim b'lvad. This is referring to his physical body. So the physical body is stage one in his creation, made from the earth and the water. At the outset of his creation, he was a form, a material matter. That's it, without spirit. Like the pasuk says in Tehillim, "Gol miro einecha," you saw me when I was just a goylem, referring to Adam Rishon, mankind. You, einechas, God, you saw me when I was yet still just a goylem, and then you breathed life into me, a soul, a living soul. And then the pasuk says, "V'ipach ba'apav nishmas chayim." Hashem breathed into Adam a living soul. V'hi Adam nefesh chaya, and man became a living entity, a living creature. So where do we see that? V'digam in yizeh kosher mitzvahs challah. L'chayr challah is done already. It's made with the first stage, the earth and the water. So where is this union of the neshama breathed into Adam? Where's that connection to challah? Answer: this too is connected to challah. Ki ha'adam le'nefesh chaya. Take these words: ha'adam le'nefesh chaya, and take the first letters and read them from the back to the front. Rashi tevis challah le'mafreya. So that spells the word challah. So we have in the word challah also implicit is not just his guf, but the very words that Hashem made a person. Vayhi ha'adam le'nefesh chaya. Ha'adam le'nefesh chaya. Is that clear? Yeah. Moreover, not only do we have these two inyonim of what? What two inyonim, friends? Someone tell me.
The challah backwards.
We start from the front and build up. The one, then two. Number one is what? The guf, and number two is the nefesh. Number one, the guf. Number two, the nefesh. Now, in more detail, there's three inyanim. Inyan aleph, for what's the first thing? Now, revisiting Chala now with more detail, which is divided into two parts now. Now, three parts in more detail. Aleph for iruf hakemach b'mayim. So the first thing is the mixing of the flour with the water. In the words of the Medrash, mekaskes hisasa b'mayim. She mixes, literally beats it. Her dough with water. So what is this? This is the yichud of earth and water. The parallel, what Eibishter did. He made Adam from the earth and water. That parallels the flour and her flour and water. Now he's explaining this in terms of levels. It's a bit technical, friends. The end of the mind bits is all translated in Avodah, but we need to understand it. So if there are any questions, just stop me. So what is this yichud? Friends, everything is about yichud. The shem, yichud, kutsha bricha shchinte. The whole kavanah for which we are here is all about affecting unity in its various guises and forms. So here's unity number one. The first yichud is the yichud of Zun. Zun stands for? Zah and Nukva. What's that? Nukva is Malchus and Zah is the six midas. So this is the basic yichud of Zah and Malchus, which translates as in general as male and female down here in Ilam Hazeh. Shal Yidei, and she is Malchus and he is Zah. Zah stands for, let's just quick revision, what does Zah stand for? Zeir Ampin, and that means small faces. What does small faces means? As opposed to what faces? As opposed to big faces. What are big faces? Arich Ampin. Arich means long, but in English you say a long face, you mean someone that's sour. We don't mean that. We mean as in big giloy. Face means giloy, pnimia. So there's Zeir Anpin, small giloyim, Zah, and there's Arich Anpin, big giloy, big revelation. So the six midas are called Zeir Anpin, because all relative to Keser, it's a small revelation. Hence it's called Zeir Anpin, small faces. Just quick revision, so words are familiar with, what do they mean? So Zah is a reference to the six midas. It's what it's referring to. And Nukva is Malchus, the recipient. So the mixing of the earth and the water, which is what? The earth, of course, is Malchus. Why is the earth Malchus?
Makabel.
Yeah, Mother Earth. The whole world calls calls the earth Mother Earth, because the earth is a mother. We plant the seed in the earth. The earth receives, and then the seed, and life is born. The Makabel. So the earth is Malchus, and the water, that's the male. That's Zah. So through that, let's continue in the text. This creates the body of Adam Marishan. Now, adding now detail. In light of that which is explained elsewhere. Where's the elsewhere? In the Zohar. We mentioned before that the earth taken to form Adam Marishan came from the Beis HaMikdash, and more specifically from the place of the Mizbeach. Says the Zohar, Adam Marishan wasn't created from the physical earth of the Beis HaMikdash here in this world. Whatever this means. He was created from the earth of the supernal Beis HaMikdash. So what's the Rebbe adding now? So we're talking about the Yichud Zul, the creation of Adam Marishan's, which manifests as Adam Marishan's body. So what level of Malchus are we talking about? Not as Malchus is invested where in Elam Hazeh, but Malchus as Malchus is in the earth of the Beis HaMikdash Elyon. So what's that? Atzilos. Hine Yichud Aforamaymu Inyan. We're talking about a very lofty yichud, a unity that happens still on the plane of Atzilus, far removed yet from Elam Hazah Gashmi. That's what Adam's auditioned body was. His physical body was like Atzilus walking around Elam Hazah. You didn't expect otherwise. He's made directly by God himself, not like every other human body. Would we follow this? What did he just introduce now? What piece of information or quote did he introduce that led to the conclusion that the yichud we're speaking about here, the earth and the water, is the lofty yichud in Atzilus? What was led us to that conclusion, as opposed to lo yichud in Elam Hazeh? The fact that what? That the Zohar said that where does this earth come from? The heavenly Beis HaMikdash. Oh. So the earth, the Malchus, is the heavenly Beis HaMikdash. So we're talking about Malchus of Atzilus. That's the heavenly Beis HaMikdash. So it's a very lofty unity. Hine, again, so Yichud offer Amayim, so the earth and the water that form the body of Adam Rishon, who inyan Yichud Zund Atzilus. This is a unity of Zon Malchus with Atzilus. Now that unity, that fusion, that's what causes and gives birth to Klolos Gimel Elam as Biyah. Their unity creates Biyah. Does this make any sense? Zoh is Nimshach in Malchus and stirs Malchus. What's Zoh? The 6 Midas, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, the 6 days of creation. And Malchus is Hashem's creative word. That's what Malchus is. And God said, let there be, and all of creation came into being. So this yichud of Atzilus, which is the loftiest attributes of Hashem, that gives birth to the creation. That's what the opening chapter of Bereshit is describing. And God said, let there be, on Sunday, let there be light, and on Monday, division between the upper waters and the lower waters. What is that? That are the highest spheres being expressed in Malchus and producing creation. Clear overall, general, just a general idea. Let's go further. So what is that? That's the end of this defining and describing Adam Rishon's first stage, which is the creation of his body. And what the parallel is, in the making of the dough, the mixing of the flour and the water. So the mixing of the flour and the water, that is exactly what God did in creating Adam Rishon. He mixed the earth and water. What does that mean? That's the yichud, that's the creative, that's describing creation right there. That's the creative forces all embodied in him. All these creative forces are embodied in him. What creative forces? The 6 mitzvahs of Atzilus, as they're invested in Malchus, and creation comes into being. Question. But creation took place already. He's coming on day 6. Done. By here it was done. And here the Kiyah ben Bavdil, here the Kiyah ben Mayim, the Moim was done already. All of a sudden now on Adam Rishon. Somebody wants to venture a guess. Why is this all expressed in him when creation has been done already? It's the same answer to why we say Rosh Hashanah is Zayim Tchilas Masecha. This is the day that marks the beginning of your works. No, it's not. It's day 6. Same answer to this question I'm asking. And the answer is, anybody? Plain English.
The whole point.
Huh?
The whole point. The Icarus.
Yeah, the whole point of creation is man. So everything that Hashem expressed in creation is all invested in man, because man is, finish my sentence, every human being is an. Olam Katan, a small cosmos, a small universe, because he's the point of it all. So, not surprisingly, all the divine forces that brought creation into existence are invested in the creation of man as well, because he is a microcosm of the whole creation and the whole point of it. Which is why Rosh Hashanah is celebrated not the beginning of creation, the anniversary of day one, which is actually the 25th of Elul, but Rosh Hashanah, the anniversary of creation, is celebrated and marked on the day that Adam and Chava were created, because they're the point of it all. And in them is invested. Who's the them? In you and I. We are all a microcosm of the entire physical and spiritual universe. Holy Seder Shtalshus to the loftiest levels are all in us in one way or another, one guise or another. It's all invested in us. That's the whole point of it. So this is, let's go further. Yeah, so that's Inyan, what's Inyan Aleph? Let's lose the track. He started saying that in Challah there's these three inyanim of what? Sur Mirah, Asay Toiv, and Torah. I'm going to have to make a chart because we can get lost in all of it. Then he started to explain. First of all, there's two inyanim in Challah. The two inyanim is, tell me, just go back to it. First he started saying two inyanim, then we're starting now, in more detail, there's three. But what did he say with the two inyanim in Challah? The guf and the nefesh. Yeah? The guf, obviously, that's a clear association. The earth and the water, that's a clear association with Challah. Where do we see that Challah also has the inyan of what? Of nefesh? In the Rosh Hashanah there. V'yodam and nefesh chaya. That's Challah. That's so in generally speaking, Challah has two inyanim so far. Guf and nefesh. Now he's going to say there's three inyanim. We're in the middle of it. What's the first inyan? The first inyan he said is the creation of the Mauritian's guf. That's inyan number one. What is that? That's earth and water. What kind of earth? The earth from the base of Mikdash Melamayla. So the first aspect of his being, he embodies the yichud of Zoh and Malchus, which produces Ishtalshalus. That's what we said, yeah? Yep. A lot of detail, I realize, but it'll all gel, it'll all come together. Let's go further. Inyan Abeis. You're going to be three inyanim. Inyan Abeis, so Hagbos Achala, what does she do? The second thing after she's made the dough and makes she lifts the challah. So Inyan Hala Mibiyah, so creation came into being already. That was stage one. Yichud of Zun, of the six midas and Malchus, and God said, and God said, and God said, and bim bam, all the creation comes into being. What's now? Now starts the Avodah. The Avodah is the Halah, the elevation of Biyah is Bittul Hayesh. What's Bittul Hayesh? Biyah is a Yesh. It's a created being with a sense of independence, doesn't feel the constant creative force of God, and as he goes down the ladder less and less and less, now starts the avodah of surrender to the Creator, Bittul Hayesh. Aliyas HaKelim, that is the elevation of the Kelim. That's the second inyan. What's that? In the physical story of the making of Challah, that is what? After making the dough, she what does she do? She picks, Frosha, yeah, exactly that. She takes a piece of the dough, gives it to the Kohen. That's the aliyah of the world, Bittul Hayesh. Now, Avodah Sabrurim overall. And what's the third inyan? Inyan Agimon, the third inyan is by Masha Kosav Yipach B'Yapov Nishmas Chayim. So in more detail now, the living soul, that's the third thing. Sheneshama zo nimshechas b'chinas avo v'ak. This third, this is God's response to our avodah. It's all, friends, what's happening here is that the creation of Adam, in the details, the stages of his creation, we're getting the whole template of the whole avodah. Creation, 1, Bittul Hayesh, our avodah, 2, 3, Hashem's response. That's the Kohen who eats the korban at the end. And what's Hashem's response? In the story of Adam Arishan, the third part is the neshama. And that is drawn from where? Avo v'ak. What's avo? Abba v'ima. Now we're talking about not Zundat Tzilis, but Chachma and Bina. And not only that, Chachma and Bina, It's still part of Atzilus, but in Chochmah, Bina Atzilus is invested Atika Kadisha, which means, anybody in translation? Oh, it's late. Atika Kadisha, we're going to start 7 o'clock. The ancient Holy One, which refers to Pnimius HaKesed. We'll continue tomorrow. Sorry, no time for the story, because we must start on Monday and Thursday at 7. Okay, friends, hang in. Don't be disheartened. It'll all come together. Have a wonderful day. We'll make you a sheet, God willing, and we'll make it clearer.